In Nightmare Tenants, Slum, Landlords, we unearth stories of people whose homes spelt misery.
I know you're my landlord. Don't come back to my property.
From the renters at the mercy of slum landlords,
All the water's running down.
You're paying £90 a week to live here with no electrics, no heating.
to the landlords facing financial ruin from terrible tenants.
This is trashed.
He's a with this bloke.
In this episode,
Can I give you those?
we revisit some of the most extreme stories.
Do you know what? It's got cockroaches.
Seems like 17 people over 2 floors.
Provide habitable properties for other human beings. Jesus.
We find out what happened next.
We took the landlord to court. He got fined £9,000.
Good.
Yeah.
And the lessons learned by both landlords and tenants
The money that's owed, we'll never see that again.
as they went through hell
You are not stepping foot inside my house.
for their home.
Oh, that died in there.
As private rents soar, squatting in commercial properties is on the rise. Some squatters are genuinely driven by their beliefs and respect the properties they squat. Others think nothing of cynically trashing the property. Gareth and Joanna Hawkes discovered this the hard way when squatters all but wrecked their dream of setting up a centre for vulnerable youngsters.
The kind of people we work with are mainly 16 to 18-year-olds. Most of them are from another country that's got war or terror or problem. But some are just English kids leaving care. We support them in college courses, try and give them life skills.
And I thought, what would be amazing would be to have a building that stayed the same in their life. Their lives are so transient. A lot of it's out of their control. I just wanted to provide a building that didn't change.
Their charity, Phoenix Community Care, had bought this former Caribbean restaurant to turn into a social centre for the children. Whilst they were waiting for planning permission for renovations, squatters moved in.
Called the police and we went in. They're about to leave. Yeah, they're friendly. Oh, we'd like to help in the future. Oh, yeah, that's fine, that's great. And then 3 days later, they said, no, you spoke to the wrong people. We're not that friendly.
With police unable to remove squatters from commercial properties, Joanna and Gareth turned to eviction specialist Chris Sharp.
See that car's coming out of? Yeah. I think it's just beyond there.
He headed to the property to serve the squatters with a notice, as there was a court hearing to get a possession order in 5 days' time.
4 or 5 will do, won't it? We'll do it to the front. Here as well.
Take a photograph of that, Duke. Letterbox has been jammed on the back. There's a door here, so we'll put one on this one. We don't know if it's being used, but better safe than sorry.
Just as Chris was about to leave, a sign of life.
There you go. Hello, hello, hello. We've just got some documents to serve upon you for a court hearing next Wednesday. Do you want to come out? We've been asked by the charity who owns the property to serve papers on you in relation to possession actions.
Papers.
There you go. Can I give you those? What's your name, mate?
Well, I'm not behind camera, bro.
Okay. He doesn't want to go on camera, so we'll just serve the documents in any event. Next week, when we're before the judge may well ask, was anybody in there when you went round there? At least we can say at the date of service there were people in there.
The hearing was set for just under a week's time. the charity was one step closer to getting back their planned social centre.
Where the phrase squatters' rights comes from, in my view, is derived from what a landlord has to do to get those squatters out. So it's not that a squatter going into a property without permission suddenly gets a proprietary right. They don't, they have no rights. They are unlawful by the very nature of what a squatter is. They are unlawful. But, if you like, they have the right not to be assaulted or to be intimidated.
In 2012, squatting in a residential property in England became a criminal offence. But unfortunately, for the Phoenix Care charity, squatters still have rights in a commercial premises.
Those squatters, they really held the Phoenix charity to ransom, really. Tried to put it back on them. Well, if you're a charity, you should be looking after us. Well, that's not how it works. Make sure it's well secured. Make sure that if the utilities are not needed, that they are turned off. The less comfortable you make it, the less likelihood there is that they will stay there for any degree of time.
Installing an alarm and even video surveillance will help secure the building, and the CCTV could be used as evidence in court. Some landlords even allow tenants to live temporarily rent-free to keep the buildings in use. In Britain today, there's a huge shortage of social housing. One downside is the growing number of rogue landlords who convert properties into houses of multiple occupancy, or HMOs, and cram in lots of tenants. In Peterborough, the council's housing team uncovered a particularly bad case. Early in 2015, acting on a tip-off, the team were preparing to raid a suspected slum HMO.
Going to a property where we had a report that somebody came in as homeless, saying they'd been illegally evicted from the property. The landlord had gone in, thrown them out, collected their possessions and put them in his van.
This was a landlord who was well known to the housing team.
The landlord is affecting people's lives.
Joining the housing team were the police and fire service. The house of multiple occupation was above a grocery store and included various outbuildings and extensions. If they decided it was unfit to live in, they could use their powers to shut it down.
I'm feeling prohibition coming on. Go for it, Rich, you're bigger than us. Hello.
The team were let in by one of the tenants.
Morning. All right?
Yep. Rooms have we got here? 3. Yeah. There's 2 here. Hello, am I okay just to come in? How many people live here? 3.
They established there were at least 13 Eastern Europeans living here at any one time, in a warren of 5 makeshift rooms. With up to 3 people crammed into each small room, they all shared just 1 kitchen and 1 bathroom.
The number of people living here is too many. This is wholly unacceptable.
In recent years, Peterborough, in the east of England, has seen a large influx of immigrants from Eastern Europe. An influx that's providing rich pickings for unscrupulous landlords. Housing officers were investigating one such case, a decrepit house crammed with migrants from Eastern Europe.
Look how this has been hashed up. It's covering the lights.
This doesn't shut properly. No, we've got the walls out of windows thing, haven't we? Going to that extension lead. Have we got any others in here? No, just the 2. That's for a smoke detector, isn't it?
Not only was it seriously overcrowded, but the entire building looked like a severe fire hazard.
These doors are made out of fiberboard. There's very little fire resistance in them. That's actually got a central hinge as well.
Yeah, mind yourselves on there.
They also wanted to check one of the outbuildings. Access was via a rickety roof.
Didn't like that. Rich, come and stand there and bounce up and down.
Oh, God.
Oh, gee, what?
Get off this roof because it's bowing as we stand on it. Hello?
They were tipped off about a number of people living there too.
Come in here. No electrics.
No.
No heating. It's cold in here, isn't it? The heating's not working. And you live here, yeah?
Yeah.
How much?
45 pounds
A week.
a week. Two person.
Your friend pays £45 and you pay £45. Yeah, so you're paying £90 a week to live here with no electrics, no heating.
No.
Okay. This looks like it's some sort of storeroom or something. It's just been hashed together. You know, electrical hazards and everything else. I mean, this is just indicative of the whole property. There's 2 people living in here, each paying £45 a week, so £90 a week to live in what is essentially 4 walls and a roof. There's nothing else.
Another building, which housed 9 people, had no heating or electricity.
Okay, electric, no bino, no electric.
How long no electric?
2 weeks.
And the tenants told Gareth why it was cut off.
She said if Elano paid debt for people, we have no electric.
Okay, the lady's informed me that the other people who have left rent arrears, and the landlord has told this lady that if she doesn't pay all of their rent arrears as well as her own rent, she can't have any electric. Withdrawal of services is criminal offence.
The housing team were gathering evidence in order to slap a prohibition order on the building, which would deem it unfit for human habitation.
It'll be prohibited from use. Got no shadow of doubt about that at all. Got all the things wrong with it you can imagine. It's just a no-no.
It's not
It's not housing, it's not acceptable. We'd have to prohibit that, I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's pretty serious stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shutting down the house and making the tenants homeless isn't a decision the team make lightly, but they were determined that the landlord should make it habitable. In North London, charity, Phoenix Community Care, finally had their day in court. They were hoping to evict the squatters occupying their property. But eviction specialist Chris Sharp had just learned the squatters planned to fight the eviction.
9 times out of 10, it's simply to try and buy more time on the off chance that the matter gets adjourned for a further hearing where more evidence can be put forward. And if they're successful in doing that, then they've won, haven't they? Because they've got the time that they wanted.
2 days' notice?
No,
Gareth was joined by his mum, Pauline, who founded the children's charity in 2002.
We do actually have a heart for homeless and people, but my feeling is that there's a right way of doing this, and if we all work together, you know, we try to explain that, but perhaps they don't know us, that we're genuine people, but hopefully they'll know that.
The court case lasted 10 minutes.
We got there, didn't we?
Yes,
And we got the order.
You were brilliant. Thank you so much.
And it went the charity's way.
So, guys.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
He was a no-nonsense judge, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
And he just said they were trying some tactics, but he just went, no, you've got to get out. That was basically it.
And you were brilliant. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's very kind, Pauline.
It was so worthwhile.
Thank you.
So much. Stay
Pleasure.
in touch.
Pleasure.
Well done. Great
Thank you.
service.
Cheers, Gareth.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Thanks.
The squatters were ordered to clear out of the charity's premises within 7 days. Chris delivered the eviction date to them in person.
Hello? 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 Hello there, mate. Do you want to answer the door a moment?
Just official enough for you?
Yeah, do you want the order?
Yeah, can you just leave it in front of the door, please?
Well, I can hand it to you, it's all right. It'll blow away. I'll literally hand it to you and we'll go.
Okay. The guy that was at the window was at the hearing today. I don't think they're going to answer the door. I don't think there's any point leaving it here because he did ask me to leave it, but let's see if it'll go under. Served. We can just go away now and wait and see what they do. Hopefully they'll leave, and if they don't leave, we'll simply have to wait for the bailiffs.
For 2 months, housing officers in Peterborough had been investigating a slum property crammed with Eastern European tenants. Having decided that the building was unsafe and unfit for human habitation, the team's next step was to slap a prohibition order on the property owned by landlord Binny, who runs the grocery shop below.
I'm single.
Is he smiling?
Available.
He now had to carry out extensive repairs before renting it out again.
Won't faze him. He's not overly interested, but whilst the property is going to be prohibited from use, he will not get any rental income from that, and that tends to focus their minds a bit.
The tenants all left, but Peter needed to check the property was now empty.
It's a criminal offence. If you don't comply with some of these notices, it's a criminal offence.
To Peter's surprise, somebody was home.
Hello, I'm from the council. How long have you been here? 3 or 4 days, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Right, and who lives here? Is it just you two?
And another one.
Sorry?
Another one woman.
One more woman. Right, what are you doing? Decorating? Making it pretty?
Yes.
Okay.
Instead of making the repairs, it looked like the landlord had re-let the flat to 3 Polish women who were simply redecorating it.
Anna's in there.
All still waiting.
He's got a big shop, doesn't he?
Peter was keen to interview the young women and find out how they came to be here.
Who is your landlord?
Binny, this man who's work downstairs.
Okay. Right. Do you go downstairs to pay the rent in the shop?
Yes.
And you give it to Binny?
Yes.
Yes.
In cash?
Yes.
Do you get a receipt?
Yes.
Yes.
Despite the women spending time and their own money on making the place a home, Peter had some bad news.
My advice to you would be at least to start looking for something else. It's not good news, I know. I know you didn't want to hear that, but we have to do what we have to do here. We can't have people living in places like this. It's not acceptable.
I don't know. And this is terrible. Really, because I think I have my house, my place here. And now? No.
As Binny was still putting unsuspecting tenants at risk, Peter needed to get the prohibition order in place as soon as possible. In North London, the day had arrived when the squatters were due to be evicted from the charity's premises. Chris Sharp, with over 16 years' experience in housing law, knew that evicting squatters could be tricky.
I'd like to get there and find the property empty. Some people can be quite violent and hostile towards you. I've had cases before where they've taken the lead, they've taken the copper. You go into properties and there's literally water just gushing out of the walls where pipes used to be. Now that is what we are all hoping does not happen. That wasn't like that before, was it? Hello? Hello? It's a right old state and the smell is overwhelming. Lovely. I hope that's not a taste of things to come inside.
That's locked up, that. This one as well. No signs of life.
Electrical ducting pipes were dumped outside, but the valuable copper wiring was missing.
I just really hope that it's not like that throughout the copper and the lead's being taken, because if it is, then it's going to be chaos in there. Hi, Gareth. It's not looking good in there.
Yeah.
Hi, Pauline.
My
Nice
sister-
to see you again. You're right. I've shouted, I've knocked on the door. Doesn't seem to be anybody in. This is disgusting.
The bailiffs arrived to evict the tenants.
Yeah, I'll come with you. Just watch your feet, gents. There's a few...
yeah, we can.
The floor was covered in what smelled like human excrement. The good news was that the squatters had gone and the bailiffs could hand over possession to the charity.
The property's now yours officially. Okay.
Pauline, it's now yours again.
Okay.
But they appeared to have willfully wrecked the property.
Yeah, be careful. There's something on the floor down there.
It's really sad. It was really cared for in as much as we could. We used to be in here and it was really, they spent hours cleaning, painting, making it good. Yeah. It's just trashed.
How does it compare to what it was like when you took it?
They've trashed it.
Have they? Were the ceilings out as well?
It seems to be a bit of a drinking drug party den, and they don't really give a damn about anyone. It's pretty upsetting. There's a lot of costs that have been wasted now. Yeah.
It's a charity. You know, they didn't ask for this, and all they wanted to do is give something back. And all they've got back from these people is 2 fingers. It's a disgrace. It really is.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so, like, this is so not right. Look at that. That is what I wrote and left in the building because that's what I want the building to be like for. We want Rainbow Valley to be a home for those who can never go back home. We like these people to always to feel invited to sit and eat at our table. You know, there's loads of refugee kids and stuff that we work with who don't have the luxury of going home to mum and dad, or don't have the luxury of even knowing whether people are alive in their family.
We're going to board it up by our locksmiths here, and when we're calm, we've got over the emotion, sit down and make a plan. Over 18 months we have vision of doing the building up, 3 floors, which we've got planning permission, thank you Harry and Gareth. But we won't do anything in haste, we'll be wise, because we've just got to move forward. But we will do it.
For the first time in a generation, more people rent privately from landlords than from councils or housing associations. And that means conflicts between landlords and tenants are soaring. Ben Reeve Lewis from Lewisham Council's Rogue Landlord Unit was tasked with helping vulnerable tenants who ran foul of slum landlords.
I read a definition of success which I quite like. Success is that when you die, is to know that at least one other person breathed a little bit easier because you lived, which I quite like. And I think my job is helping people breathe a bit easier, and I've got quite a few of them. So when I finally do pop off, I'm not planning to go anywhere, but when I do, I'm going to just point to the book and go, have a look at that, mate. Yeah? I'll be standing there next to some of the landlords and agents that I've been dealing with who are going to be getting the escalator down.
In March 2015, Ben was on his way to help some tenants who complained that their property had a rat problem and was without heating and hot water.
The owner of the property, we've had a few run-ins with, which has been a bit unpleasant.
In London, this is an increasingly common scenario. A house of multiple occupation, or HMO. A normal 4-bedroom house had been carved up into 7 tiny bedrooms, housing as many as 12 tenants.
Hello, Julius. Hello, Kelly.
All of whom shared 3 bathrooms and 3 kitchens.
You have a look in there. It's empty. There's 2 girls in here, but we've got 2 bunk beds and a single bed all crammed into one room. And there's another guy there and another guy up there. There's no heating, which is why I've got all this gear on. There's no hot water, and it's been like this for months. All paying rent, and no one wants to fix it. London rent in 2015.
The landlord is legally obliged to provide heating and hot water. To build a case against the landlord, Ben wanted to talk to some of the tenants.
When they have a shower, when you have a shower, all the water running down is on top of our food, on top of our floor, on top of everywhere. We have to keep going down with the brush, take everything up, and you have to walk on water here.
Miriam and Demetrius had recorded what happened when someone had a shower in the bathroom above them.
That's not illegal, it's a little bit like that, drip, drip, drip. That thing's mental.
Now this water coming from the plug. The other day the plug was doing, what's the name? The electricity thing.
Yeah, sparking, yeah.
Because the water was going to the plug, and we cannot solve that. They keep, after almost a year now, waiting for a year.
Yeah.
We have some rats as well, living underneath of our sink.
Which we don't know where they're coming from, because we've never seen them in the house. So they're coming somehow from the outside.
The next step for Ben was to confront the landlord over the property's condition and force them to make the repairs.
They put up with a lot, as you can see. If I could magic them out of there, I would. And at the same time, I'd bulldoze this house.
Rainbow Alley was always meant to be a safe haven for young people who have lost their parents. But when squatters moved in and caused extensive damage, the building was declared unsafe and needs to be knocked down.
There has been loads of movements of rats. So they're the new squatters in and they live in there now. It's horrible to go in. It just needs to be knocked down.
8 months after the squatters left, after lots of fundraising and paperwork, the charity now have planning permission for a brand new building.
That is amazing.
It's a bit rough, but the idea was just simply to give the impression of the openness of the building. And there's a dangling grand piano, as you can see in the...
That's so cool.
And today, architect Noel Isherwood is revealing his designs for the new state-of-the-art community centre.
So 2 floors of really public building, and then the sort of office suite at the top. Yeah.
It's
How do you think? You like
brilliant.
It? I think the whole team have got a fantastic vision for people, and I think this will be a superb addition to the community. That front entrance is also quite an advert from the high road. You know, you can see things going on within the building. Yeah. It actually makes the whole alleyway more secure.
Seeing the drawings makes you feel encouraged that it could be multifunctional, multi-purpose. It's going to stand out.
So you enter here, that's the big window opening there. I've shown the stage in the corner. I don't know if that was where you wanted it.
The area needs it. The area's changing, lots of things are happening in the area, and I think it's perfect timing.
Pauline and Gareth were heartbroken when they saw their plans for a community building destroyed. But they've never given up, and as they continue to raise funds, their perseverance will be rewarded.
What we saw on those pictures is what hopefully we're going to see in a few months, maybe a year's time.
In Peterborough, after a 3-month investigation, housing officers had successfully slapped a prohibition order on a slum house of multiple occupation. They wanted the landlord Binny to fix it up and answer some questions, so they called him in for a face-to-face interview.
He's here. He's arrived. Mr. Binny has arrived. Miracles do happen. He knows more than he lets on. He's obviously seeing that it's a dwelling that he can't rent out and get an income from, so that will be upmost in his thought. So there's a question, we need an answer, all of these. Who lives in the property? And I'm not going to let go of this because this is important and this is a legal requirement.
Binny denied that anybody was living in the flat.
Let me just make sure I'm quite clear about the answer to my question. Is anybody living in that flat? Fine, okay.
Satisfied the property was now empty, Peter wanted Binny to hand over vital paperwork, including the gas safety certificate, ex-tenants' contact details, and their tenancy agreements.
The documents that we want are particularly important. They're as important as this, otherwise it gets serious. And I mean it, and I'll stick to it, and I'm not going to give you any more time.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes. Yeah, thanks.
Binny had to comply with the investigation to the letter. If he didn't, he was facing a potential jail sentence.
Hopefully he'll produce the goods, otherwise I'd have to be looking at recommending prosecution for failure to comply with the legal requirement. I'm sure he wants us off his back, and I'd gladly get off his back if he just went away and did the right thing.
Binny's property may be empty, but with 1 in 5 homes in Britain currently owned by private landlords, what are tenants' rights if they clash with them?
Make sure that your landlord is your landlord. We've had fake landlords that are taking monies and deposits and ripping off tenants.
Do a land registry check on your landlord, and it will tell you if the person that you're renting for is actually the owner of that property. If you pay a deposit and you're a short-hold tenant, your landlord has to protect that deposit. If the landlord doesn't protect the deposit, you can sue your landlord for a penalty of up to 3 times the amount of the deposit. Also check that your landlord has a gas safety certificate that's current, because that's a criminal offence not to have a gas safety certificate. If there's any repairs that need doing to the structure of the building, the walls, the fireplace, any of the floors, anything like that, it's the landlord's duty to fix it, not yours.
In 2014, over 200,000 renters faced revenge evictions. A new law should change things.
If there's a problem in the property and the tenant complains to the council and the council serves certain works notices, that stops the landlord actually evicting that tenant. So it's been an important development that protects tenants in very poor properties. And also, for the period that you are the tenant in that property, you are, to all intents and purposes, the owner of that property. And you can exclude anybody you like, including the landlord, who would be trespassing if they went in without your permission.
Eight months have passed since Peterborough's housing officers slapped a prohibition order on a slum HMO. Today, Peter is checking the property is still empty, and the landlord Binny hasn't slipped any new tenants in on the quiet. 2 of the other flats on the site have also been prohibited from use.
That one has been prohibited by the fire service. I don't think we've got anybody living here, which is as it should be. It's prohibited from use, as the notice says.
For housing officers, the job's only half done. The HMO may be empty, but with the town's acute shortage of cheap rentals, the best outcome would be if Binny did the property up and let it out again. So Peter pays him a visit.
I don't really want to be filmed on TV.
They're a bit of a waste, aren't they, just sitting there? Historically, you've been quite keen to get them done, weren't you?
But for the moment, Binny's not budging.
Things okay?
I think he has long-term intentions to actually put them back into use. Whilst they're prohibited, as long as he's in compliance with that order, we'll focus our time more so on properties that are occupied, where people might well be at risk.
In Lewisham, Ben Reeve-Lewis from the council's housing team was investigating a run-down house of multiple occupancy with no heating or hot water. But the situation had taken a turn for the worse. One of the tenants reported that two men claiming to be builders had attempted to throw him and his family out. Forcibly evicting a tenant without a court order is illegal, and it was time for Ben to get some answers. He arranged to meet the landlord at the property.
This is the slab vest going in.
Situations like this sometimes turn nasty.
It's all really absolutely safe, but you never know.
Take care.
I'll
Don't
try.
do anything I wouldn't do.
Thanks, Mum. Two guys turned up at the front door with iron bars, and they kicked the door in.
Ben had organised a joint operation. Sean from planning was worried about illegal multiple occupation.
You know Chambers?
Chamberlain from environmental health was worried about the freezing cold conditions and rats. The landlord and her partner arrived to face the music.
It's against my privacy,
No.
please. Can you stop that, please?
No, legally I can
No, it's
film
not.
on
You
a
haven't got a
public highway.
consent from me.
No,
You haven't
we're
got
not.
a consent.
Okay, you're not allowed on premises here.
She's not on the premises here. I'm going to have to go in. What troubles me is that the tenants upstairs have told me that when your builder arrived, they actually kicked the door in. It was very intimidating for them. You wouldn't normally get that from the builder.
That's a lie. I did bring the workmen here, right, to do the gas, the doors and all that. The workmen were harassed by one of those, and apparently they called the police.
Yeah.
The top unit, at the moment there's 7 people in there, and planning-wise we'd look at that as a change of use.
That's done without her knowledge.
I would never have.
That was
That's
done
what
without
my
her knowledge.
problem is. Because when I came, I was in shock.
The landlord insisted one of her tenants had been subletting the other rooms, unbeknown to her, and he was to blame for the property's poor state.
Oh, he was your tenant?
Yeah, that's what I have a tenancy agreement. Which is, I am the victim
problem,
here. I am the victim
the
here.
problem you've got.
She hasn't received a rent from him since June.
With respect, what you've told us sounds credible, but we've got no proof of it. Responsibility-wise, as unpalatable it is, legally speaking, you would be responsible for what's happening in here.
I hope it's not on. If it's on a public domain, I will come to you.
By blaming the tenant, the landlord was attempting to duck all responsibility.
She has a very plausible story. It kind of fits together quite well. Got no proof that it's true. And I dare say if we get the agent in, he's got to say something different.
Just as Ben was about to leave, tenant Demetrius arrived home from work and cast serious doubts on the landlord's story.
What she said to me is that he rented this property off of her, and then without her knowing, he put all you people in it, and he's not paying any money to her. It's a common scam. She rents to him, he rents to someone else.
The guy who is with her, I don't know if her husband or not.
Yeah.
I've seen the guy before. He's the guy who gave us the keys to move in. When is like, I want
And
to
the
show
story
you this
falls
house.
apart.
Yeah, they were together when they opened the door for me.
Thanks for telling me, Demetrius. Yeah, see you later. Bye. Well, I feel such a plum. No, I don't really. All of that bullshit that she said, the story fell apart within 30 seconds.
With little sign that the landlord was about to make the necessary improvements, Ben decided to help the family find a new home.
No more bangings from upstairs, no more problems with the landlords, everything perfect with the contracts.
No more animal friends?
No. It's amazing, amazing. We are super happy. Super happy. Yeah, we make it.
Their new place was in a leafy part of South London. The landlord maintained she let the property to another tenant, who sublet it without her knowledge. She claimed that she attempted to carry out repairs, but had been denied access on every occasion. She denied trying to illegally evict anyone and claimed she had not received rent since June 2014. It's been 7 months since Miriam and Demetrius moved to their new home, and the nightmare they went through in their old run-down, rat-infested house is becoming a distant memory.
This house is amazing. It changed life. It's totally back to heaven. I love this room. I really love it. Remember, we had the other problem in the other house with the noise and sleep. Oh,
It's
even
so quiet.
They don't listen, nothing. Not even the neighbors, not even the house, nothing.
Simple pleasures that most of us take for granted have transformed the couple's lives.
We love it. We cook every day.
We are Greek and Spanish. We love to cook. We cook a lot now, you can see.
In our last house, we had to wait for the rest 16 people to cook before us.
What you do? You order food, pizza, kebabs, burgers and stuff, because it's easy. You don't have your space to do it, and now it's so nice. You can cook your food all the time, even if it's a quick one.
The terrible conditions the couple were living in put a lot of pressure on them.
Before, we would be stressed and having fights with our neighbors without really have nothing against them. It was problems that were arising by 15 people living together. It's not happening.
It was this stress, this pain for your family to suffer so much. Now I look healthy and a little fat because we were more relaxed, which is nice. I was all the time looking for houses. If I have a chance to find something, no? This worry is gone. You don't have to look for nothing else again. It's like, it's over. I feel home. Finally, I put my roots.
Since filming, in June 2015, a bankruptcy order was made against Miriam and Demetrius' former landlord at the request of Lewisham Council's Council Tax Enforcement Section.